Our hollow rocks are a great core exercise, primarily hitting the abdominals with a little bit on those hip flexors and a little bit on the tops of the quads as well to hold the legs up. You don't need any equipment for this exercise. You're going to be coming down to a seated position, and there's a lot of different variations here that can make this easier or more difficult for you. I'm going to start off with the basic positioning here, which is what I demonstrated. That's going to be around the easiest version of this exercise. That's to where those legs are bent here slightly at about a 90-degree bend, and the arms are right out here next to the legs. So what we're going to do here is we're going to lift those legs off, so we're balancing on that tailbone, and then we're going to rock back onto the shoulder blades, and then rock back up to that seated position. Try not to let the feet touch the floor. So we're trying to control that rock with the abs. The abs are being involved throughout this entire exercise, trying to fine-tune how much we should rock up, how much we should rock back in order to not let the feet touch the floor and trying to find that balance point at the top. So this is a slow and controlled exercise. This is not a speed one. So again, rocking back onto the shoulder blades and back up to that seated position. Notice how my legs are coming back with me. I'm not just kind of rocking like this and trying to rock back up. I'm keeping that same kind of an angle in between my thighs and my torso throughout that movement. So I'm actually rocking back here and then rocking up to that seated position. Now, a little easier version for these, if you're first starting out on this exercise, you can come up to where the heels touch at the top. So you can rock back, and you can rock back up and set the heels down and come back up to that seated position here. That's going to be an easy starting point. As you progress, though, I want you to try to come back up to that seated position and not let those heels touch. Find that stopping point and then go back in to that hollow rock again, because this exercise is about control. So that's going to be the most easy version to perform this exercise. A little tougher version is going to be having the arms extended up overhead instead of at your side. So what that'll look like, legs are still staying bent, arms are up overhead, rocking back again, coming back to that seated position, keeping those arms extended up. Now, if you want to make it a little tougher than that, bring those arms back down to that original position, but now keep those legs nice and straight. So instead of having them bent here, I'm going to have my legs out. I'm going to still rock back up to that seated position, but my legs are trying to stay fairly straight. A little bit of a bend is okay, but try to keep them fairly straight. The final progression for this, the toughest version of this exercise, is your legs staying fairly straight and your arms being up overhead. So what's that'll look like? Rocking back, coming up to that seated position, keeping those arms fairly straight, arms fairly straight up overhead and the legs fairly straight as well. So you have a couple different options that you can do on this exercise. Most common mistakes made, number one, grabbing the thighs with the arms so that the abs don't have to work. And what that looks like is just doing the rocking motion here. And you're not really working a whole lot here. You're not working your abs very much. If anything, you're working a lot of the biceps, having to hold that torso with those arms on those thighs. This is by far the most common mistake I see made on this exercise. And it's understandable because it makes this exercise way easier. You don't have to use the abs to control it. So get rid of those hands on the thighs. If you need to, keep the legs bent, keep them here, and just rock back onto the shoulder blades and rock to that seated position and set those feet back down. If you need to do an easier option, that is the option that you should go to on this one. So by far, that's the number one most common mistake made. Other common mistakes made on this one is simply not rocking back far enough. So sometimes I'll see people just come back to here and try to get up, and that's going to make it a lot harder. So make sure you get the full rock. Actually, your hips and your butt are coming slightly up off the ground as you rock back onto those shoulder blades. And then you're rocking back to that seated position again at the top. So by lifting those hips up slightly, you're getting a little bit of momentum to help propel yourself up. So slow down, focus on the common mistakes made on this exercise, find the progression that works best for you, whether it's legs bent, whether it's arms straight, whether it's legs straight, find the one that's doable but challenging for you. Make sure that you're going slow through this movement and controlled, and make sure you're focusing on keeping your abs engaged.